Alright YouTube, in this video we are going to see how to create a CMS website using Laravel. So in this website what you will primarily focus on is the role manager. Only the admin will be able to add, delete and edit the product, and the regular user or the non-logged in user cannot have access to the dashboard. So now as a regular user or a non-logged in user, I only have access to this one page, which this images are coming from the database. I have added all these products, and from these products the images are getting displayed. Now this is non-logged in user. So I'm going to log in again with a user who is not admin, so it's just a regular user. So again the regular user does not have any access. He can only browse as a regular user, so you can see the images and you can see the latest products, and that's it. Now let me get into the admin. So now as an admin he has a extra power, so he can access all the products, edit it, update it, delete it according to his will. So here in this case UI monk is the uh, admin. So now as you are logged in as an admin, you can see the two more buttons shows up. So you can click on create and you click on view all. So in the view all you can see all the products that you have added. So far we have added 7 products, and now you can see those 7 products are displayed here, and you can see, and if you wish to add one more product, so you can add it just by clicking on the cakes. So you can view, create and home. If you click on home you will be redirected to the home page with these two buttons only for admins. Now if I click on create, let's just create a burger, and just a chicken burger, just to have some name. 150 rupees. You can choose the image, and in this case let's choose this burger and click on save. As you click on save you can see in the end a new product has been added. And if you get into the home page and click on refresh, you should see a new product which you have added just now. So now you are logged in as an admin, you have added the product. Now let me just get into the incognito mode and log in as a regular user who is not logged in. He can also view the product which you have updated just now. Now in this case I don't want the ice cream to be displayed here, so in that case I want the ice cream to be deleted. Just click on this delete, you'll see a model pop up, and just click confirm that you want to delete it. And if you refresh again, the product has been deleted by the admin, and that got reflected immediately in the home page. The same way, if you want to edit the image of the burger, just click on the edit, you'll be redirected to the form, and you can fill all the details and choose the image. And let me just choose the bright image and click on edit. And now if you click refresh the home page, you'll see the burger has been added. So you can do all the insertion part, updation part and deletion part with the help of this form. So now you have seen the login logout session for login logout role for admin, and then you have seen the backend. Here we have integrated Admin LTE template for the backend, and the third part is the CRUD operation. You have seen the complete CRUD operation with the pagination. You can see. So these are the three main sections that we are going to see today in this project. So it's very simple, but it has all the core functionality that is required to run a high-end website. So now I have divided these into some sections. So for the topic we will see how to create the form, and in the form I have also added the validation. If you click on save, you will see these fields need to be filled in order to save the data into the database. So form validation is done, and we'll be creating a database, and we'll be accessing database with ORM Laravel, and then we'll be inserting it, and we have integrated the Admin LTE. So these are the in-depth concepts of Laravel that we are going to focus. So the model is responsible for communicating the Laravel with your database, and the controller is responsible for the route. You'll see the view is giving you the when once you click on this view, you'll see all the product that you have added on the website. If you click on create, you will see all the product, or not all the product. You'll see the form that will be that if you fill this form, these data will be stored into the database with the help of model. And my point is, if you click on these links, the relevant the route shows the relevant page. So the relevant route that shows relevant page, the controller is responsible for routing your page, and the request and rules are for the validation. And we'll see how to link your storage file with your public folder so that you can access your images in the front end as well as the dashboard. And we'll see how to pass messages between two pages. And as you click on as you update any product, you'll see, let me just edit this and make this 350, and if you click on save, and from edit page you have gone into the index page, and this is the message that we have sent. So this is what we are going to see, and we are going to see some in-depth function in controller, which is index, create, destroy, delete. And for the models, there are some static methods that we are going to access. This is useful for finding the ID single row. This is useful for getting all the columns in the database, and this is useful for creating your column in database. And this is pagination, which I have shown you. We'll be modifying the app service modifier to have this feature. And then we'll find the database seeder, the main use of database seeder. If I say it right now, you won't able to understand, but as we get into the problem, you'll find the actual solution of the database seeder. Now this middleware is responsible for, as the name suggests, if you type something in the URL, and once you type something, Laravel will provide you the page. So between the typing, once you type on it, once you click it, the request will send to the Laravel. So the request sent and the request received, in between the section there comes the middleware. So in the middleware, it will find whether you are an admin or not. If you are admin, then it will show the page. If you are not the admin, it will not show. So if I say, you see, this is the URL for showing all the data in the database. Sorry, showing all the data from the database. Now if I get into incognito mode, and now I am not logged in, so if I try to access the same URL, I won't be able to access. So that's the work of middleware. So even if I log in as a regular user at the gmail.com, and try to access, first login, and try to access the dashboard link, I won't be able to access. So here it's the role of the middleware that blocks all the non-admin users to get redirected to the home page and not allowing to access. So these are the topics as for the CMS website that needed. So for the CMS website, we need a dashboard. Yes, it's done. We need a CRUD operation with form validation. Yes, it's done. And with pagination, yes, it's done. And we need the role manager, that is also added here. Cool. Now without wasting any time, let's directly jump into the project. Alright, now let's start installing our Laravel. Make sure your XAMPP is running, and make sure you're inside the Laravel folder, which is inside htdocs. Now I am inside C XAMPP htdocs, and inside I have a Laravel project folder, and whatever project I'll be creating, it will be inside this folder. Now let's create a cake shop. So here I am going to give the composer a command saying that, composer, create a project, download the Laravel package and name it as cake shop, and the preferred version of Laravel is 8.6.3. Click enter. And now we need to install another package called Laravel UI, and then we need to install the authentication of Laravel, so that is responsible for login and logout feature of Laravel. So the problem is, we should have installed the Laravel UI package inside our cake shop. So cd cake shop, and then install both the package, which is authentication and Laravel UI. And now the Bootstrap authentication. So now we need to install npm install and npm run dev. Until you see this kind of table, you have to run the command called npm run dev. Fine, that's done. Now to make this work, you can type php artisan serve. So it will give you an IP address along with port 8000. So let me open the Chrome, and you see a welcome screen by Laravel. Now let me load this project in my Visual Studio Code. So you can type code and dot and click enter, and to close the server you can type Control C. So once you type Control C, you will be able to edit the code. So now Visual Studio will load the cake shop folder for me. So by the time it loads, make sure your XAMPP is running and your PHP MySQL is started. Now you have to create a database. So phpMyAdmin, inside the phpMyAdmin you need to create a database, and we'll name the database as cake shop. So now after creating the database, you need to link the created database and your Laravel folder. In that case, you need to modify. I know the screen is stuck, but let's wait till it loads. So to combine or to connect the Laravel folder with your phpMyAdmin, you need to edit the env file of Laravel, which is the environment file. And now you see, you click on new, and once you click on new, you would be able to create a database, and you can give a name to it. So let's name it as cake shop, and click on create. So by the time, let's wait, let's just close this, and now you see a database is created. And by the time the Laravel has loaded your cake shop folder in the Visual Studio Code, now in the env file you have to connect the PHP MySQL, which is MySQL, the local host, and the database we have created is cake shop, and its username is root and the password is none. Now once this is done, you have successfully connected your database. So all the database related stuff are inside the database folder. So in the database folder, you will see in the migration folder, you will see 4 files. So now you will be creating a model. So the model is responsible. So you can see we have 4 files. So we just need to modify one file, which is this one, and you can see this defines the column of each table, of the table called users. So name, email, verified at, password. So we need to create one more column, and it's going to be s admin, and the default value is going to be 0. So now once you migrate this, you will be writing a command to migrate. Once you migrate this code will create a columns in your database table called user. So let me create one more table. So to create the table, we need to create a model. So model is responsible for accessing your database value in Laravel. So the model name is going to be cake, and this is the code that we need to provide to the Laravel PHP artisan make model, and the model name is going to be cake. So once you see, there is the migration table has shown up. So in this case we just have only 2 values. So what I'll do is I'll write some code and add some more columns to it. So you can see by default there is ID and timestamp. Let's leave as it is, but I'm going to add column called string, description, price, and images. So the string, these are the data types of the columns, so text, the integer, and the string. So once this is done, you will also notice in the app there is a models, and inside that the user and cake is there. So the cake has come because we have written a code, so this is by default it would be there. So now you will also write is admin. I hope you have not changed. It's a camel case, so we have to follow uh, the name properly. So once this is done, what you have to do is you have to type php artisan migrate. So once it completes migration, what you will see is you will see some data, sorry, the tables that has been created by Laravel. So you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6, there are 6 tables that is created by Laravel. The user table, we have added a column called is admin. So you can see is admin will be there, is admin. And for the cakes table, you will see the columns that you have added will be displayed over here. So your database has been created successfully. Now we need to understand the flow of Laravel. So when there is a request for the URL, so this one, consider this as a home page. What Laravel do is Laravel will get into routes into web.php, and it will read the line. You'll see the slash represents your IP address. When there's a call for this address, this URL, then return the view called welcome. So what is welcome? So in the resources, in the views, there's a page called welcome, and if you edit this welcome, let me just remove this and type hello, and you will see only hello will show up. So I hope the server is not running, so let me run the server. And now you will see just the hello. Well, that's cool. So now you understand the flow, it's just returning the view, but there comes a concept called controller in Laravel. So when you search something like home, so Laravel will as usual get into the web.php, which you find inside the routes web.php, and you can see there is the URL, and Laravel will get into the controller. So here the controller can be found at app http controllers, and here we have home controller. So now you will see, let me just open the route for you again. So when there's a call for this URL, Laravel will get into the controller, and inside the controller there's a function called index. Inside the controller there's a function called index, so that is responsible for executing the code. So here again it is going to return a view called home. So in the as usual, in the resources views, we have home. So you can see this home, you will see. So before that, let me just comment this middleware so that we can see what is inside home. When I type home, you will see you are logged in, and you can see this here. What we'll do is we'll add this is front end of website. So you'll be writing a code, so that will show you as a front end. So I don't think we need a card, but we'll edit this later on. Cool, your I hope you understand. Now what we need to do is we need to create a CRUD operation. So to create the CRUD operation, you will be anyway accessing the form that will be responsible for inserting the data into the table, and then the table page which displays all your inserted value. So in that case, we'll be creating a URL. Let me just get into the web.php and first create a URL. And as I said, when there's a call for the URL, it's cake slash create. So we need to add a controller. Controller is not there, so let's create a controller. So to create the controller, again close the server, stop the server, and we have a code for, as we have created for the model, we have cake controller. So PHP artisan make controller and followed by resources. Now you can find the controller in the app http. We have cake controller. now what I'll do is I'll just uncomment this and make sure I have imported the controller. Let me just copy this, and this is how we import use. And when there's a call for the cake/create, get into the controller and access the create function, create function, and this is the name of the route. We'll name it as cake.create. So in the create function we'll return view. What we can return is, let's just return home as of now. Make sure to add semicolon or else it will throw an error. Server. So as I said, if I type cake dot create, not dot but slash, you will see the home page again, and again you can just give a string saying that this will be form. So you can see this will be form. Again the same way, let me just create a new file in the resources views, and let's create a folder first. No, let me just create a file. It's better to have a folder. So cake, inside the cake we can have a new file. We'll name it as create.blade.php, which will have form, and another file index.blade.php, which will display all the value which you have inserted on the database. So let me just copy paste all the code in the home, copy this, paste it in create, save it, and paste it in index, save it. Now we can use the route again. We have, when there's a call for the URL, create/index cake/index, then get into the index file, and the relevant name of the route is, we'll use the name of the route in just a second. I'll just make sure you understand it, but just let's see. When there's a call for this URL, get into the controller and get into the relevant function. Now in the relevant function we'll just return a view, and for the create it's just cake.view, so cake.create. Instead of slash we are just maintaining dot in Laravel. The same way in the index it's just cake.index. So again let me check. So here in the create, let me just say this, here it will be form, and here it will be table. Let's just check whether it is properly returning the view or not. Yes, here it is a form, and if I search for index, you should see the table. Here it is index. Cool. Now let me just, since we have created the page, now it's time to import the admin LTE. So you will see I have created the I have converted the admin LTE into HTML. So we'll use this template in our Laravel. So this is the bare minimum code required to run the admin LTE. So if you see in the admin LTE, it's obvious that a HTML file will have CSS and JS. So the relevant CSS and JS where we need to paste is, just copy the assets. So inside the assets we have CSS and JS of admin LTE. So let me just copy this and get into your Laravel project, and here in this case it's cake shop. Inside the cake shop you will go on public and just paste it. And now let me just open the HTML here. Open. So the HTML is here. So these are the HTML and CSS. But you will notice in the create and in the create.wait.php and in the index.wait.php there is no place for adding header and footer. So the header and footer is coming from the layout folder app. So this will have header and footer. So you'll see this is header and this is footer, and whatever is there inside the content, you'll see inside this section will be placed in the app.blade.php's this place. So you can see this is the parent and this is the child. So this place will get replaced by this section. So that's what it is. That's how it works. as I said, now let's just place the CSS and JS. So this is the CSS required for the admin LTE. So app.layout, and if I just save it and get into, make sure yeah, it's running. Press U, and you will see the assets, and all the CSS file are there, but it's the relative way, but rest of them are absolute. So if you click it, you won't be able to access it. So to make it absolute, what we need to do is we need to paste a code. So we need to pass the URL into a function called asset. You'll see this asset. So that's what we are doing. So once this is done, now there will be absolute path, and if you click on it, you'll be able to access the CSS and JS. The same way for the JS will be in the footer. Just copy this code and paste it, and let me just make this smaller. And as we know, we need to pass the URL into the assets, and just copy this, and if you click on refresh, there would be your HTML and CSS. But the problem is the HTML, we have not placed the HTML. I know we have, for the HTML we have two sections. The first one is the sidebar and the second one is the content section. So what I did is, in HTML I have just taken away the aside. So aside is responsible for having the sidebar. Just copy this and paste it inside views, just new file. So it's going to be sidebar dot blade dot php. Just the aside section, place it inside the sidebar, and call the sidebar into the create by @include, and it's going to be sidebar. So the same way, do it for the index as well. So now if you refresh, you will find a sidebar, working sidebar. See, here it will be table. The same way, if you search for create, again you will find this is from form. So not only this, what we need to do is you need to get rid of all the content, which is now, we will replace it with our HTML. So here you will see a section. Just copy this section and paste it. So this is index, and this is create, just to differentiate. Retype it. It's gone because we need to make them surround inside content wrapper. So we'll do it. Just make sure our HTML is proper. Yeah, you can see. Now in between the content, we'll be placing our HTML and form. Now we need to paste the form. So for the form, let me just copy paste it. So here in the create, we have a form. I'll explain you line by line. First, let's see the output. I have pasted the route also, that's the reason. And before that, let me just show you the sidebar. Here we are creating a cake. So here let's just know the name route. So we have create.cake.create and cake.index. So we'll use this route in our sidebar. Instead of specifying the URL, you can use the route name. So we'll use the blade, and route is a function, and we need to call cake.index. So this is for view all route, and then for the create, it's cake.create. So now you can just get into two routes by clicking on view and clicking on create. And let me just one more link, so that will be responsible for having home as you are logged in as an admin, so we'll just type cake dot. So what we'll do is we'll remove the route as of now, but we'll do it once we have. So you can see 3 links. So let's just get into the HTML. So we have HTML input text area, input text, input type file. So instead of burger, it's going to be cake. Cool. Now we make sure your name attribute is there for all the HTML text. You can see name description, name price, name image. So it is better to have your column name as a name of the HTML. So once this is done, if you there's a problem here, so just to fix it, as a quick fix, we'll use the CSS. So select this aside and make this fixed, and that will do the work. Just copy this and paste it inside app.blade.php's head, which is style, and that's a quick fix. Now as I said, so once you click on save, all the data that will get into this action. So for that we'll create a URL. So that name route is going to be blade route, and here it's cake dot store. So we need to create this route. So here it's going to be the post request, and the URL is create dot store, and the store function is going to take care of it, and the name route, as we have created in the attribute of form, it's cake dot store. So here in the store we'll just display all the data that we get from the HTML, so that can be accessed by this request URL, request variable, and you'll just type all. Make sure to add colon, or else you'll get an error. Now if you refresh this, if you click on save, all the data will be sent to the store function, and the store function will display all the data inserted. Now as you see, this is null, this is null, and this is null, and this token is coming from @CSRF in the HTML, or else it won't work. So since we are uploading the image as well, so there would be encrypt type as well, or else it won't work. Cool. Now this is not acceptable. So if it is null, why are we sending it to the database? So in that case, we'll be creating a validation. So to create the validation, we need to create a request. So just to give you an idea, again the request will be created as a folder here inside the HTTP. So let's just create first. So here we are going to create 2 requests. So that's the reason we are going to name it properly. So the first route is going to be, we are going to create a pizza, so create a cake. So it's create request, naming it properly, and the next route will be update. We'll create it once we needed it, as we need. Close the server and create a request. So as you click on create, you will see there's a new file. So inside the new file we have a class. So make sure this is true, and as it is true, we need to set a rules. So setting the rules is very easy. What we need to do is we just need to have access to all the HTML name attribute, and we are making sure that the name is required and it is string. It should accept only string. The minimum value is 3 and maximum value is 4. The description, it is required, it is string, minimum value is 3, maximum value 400. Price is required, the required is numeric, not the string, minimum 300, maximum 5000. Category we don't have, and then we have image is also required. The allowed types of images are cake, PNG, JPG, and JPEG. Now you need to call this class in our web.ph, not web, in the controller. So here we have a cake controller, we need to call this. So we will be using this class as a reference in the cake controller. You can see it's in the store. Sorry, it's in the store, and here this is the object, and this is the reference variable, and the reference variable will validate it. Now we need to call this over here. So it's inside app, then HTTP. Inside HTTP we have requests. Inside requests we have our request class. We'll just extend it, and that's it. And now if you try to save, you will get the error. You will not get the error, because again we need to make sure we are displaying the error in the index, sorry, in the create.blade.php. So to display the error, we have a error variable in Laravel. So the error variable is responsible for displaying all the errors. So you see, we are checking whether we have error. If there is an error, then run the for each one by one and just display all the error one by one with the help of for each. Now if I try to, I think the server is not running. Yeah, server should run, because, and if I try to save, you will see the validation. So if I type name and description, and if I click on save, again you will see except name and description, you need to fill all the other field as well. So that's what it is specifying. And now you see, as I type and click on save, the data will get into the controller which is store. And now we need to write the code that will be responsible for storing the variable into the database. So for that, accessing the database with Laravel, the model does the job for that. So here HTTP, inside HTTP, not on inside, but we have models. Directly inside models we can access cake, and now we can access this cake variable in the create function. And we can access its static function, which is get. And what we need to do is, no, we are going to store it, so create. So we need to pass an array, and these are the column names, and these are the requests input field. And you can see for the image we just have path. So before that, let me just show you, whenever you upload an image, Laravel uses the storage folder. Inside the storage folder we have an app, inside the app we have a public. So here we will specify that our images will store inside the public folder. So in that case, we'll get the image and use the store function, and inside that I want a folder called cake. Inside public you will find a folder called cake, and the cake will be stored over there. As it gets saved, I want this to be redirected to the index page with a message saying that you have stored successfully. So redirect function, route, the name of the route is going to be cake.index, as we have created it, and the message is the constant, and we are sharing the message called stored. So in the index.blade.php we will write a code for displaying the message that we have passed. So now you will see, if the session has a message, then display the message as it is. So fine, that's it. Now if I type choco cake, description as it is, price 200, and the image of the cake, you'll find Laravel source code, image, then we have cake folder. Just click on save. So we are making a bulk assignment. Whenever we do a bulk assignment, we have to get into the models. This is responsible, and we have to create a variable and make it don't guard anything. So create a variable called a guard, and make sure you're not guarding anything. So as you do this, so it's a it won't work. So if let me just check. in the cakes table whether do we have inserted anything. Yes, we have inserted anything, and let's check whether our uh, storage folder has our cake folder. You can see cake folder is there, and there is the image that we have uploaded. So now what we need to do is to access this image, we need to copy the storage file in the public folder. So in the public folder 1 2 3 through 3 file is there. So I want to link the storage php artisan storage with link, enter, and now you will see there is a folder called storage and we have cake, and we can access this in the HTML. So that's clear. Now as we can able to insert the value, now let's just use the code to display the value. So it's very simple. Now to get to access the index table, we need all the data to be displayed over here. So in that case, in the controller, the index is responsible for index function is responsible for fetching all the data. So to fetch all the data, use the function called static function called get. Now we store it into a variable called all cakes and send the variable with the help of compact function. Now we can access this cakes in index. So in place of burgers we can have this, and in place of burger we can have cake. Cool. Now let me just show you, let me just say if the count is if there is no data, then just display the message saying that nothing to show. So if there is a count, then display it one by one with the help of for each. So the key is because we have a serial number, so 0 plus 1, that will be responsible. Now let me just remove all the unwanted CSS as of now. We don't need the model for now. Cool, just a regular display part. Now these are the table head, and we are accessing the column name, description, price, and we can display the image by accessing the storage class and use the URL and get the table name. Now if I refresh this server, activate the server, just refresh this, so we have one image. Now we need to add the edit and delete button. So to add the edit button, what we need to do is create a button and class btn primary, and you can type edit. So there is edit. So now when you click on this, what relevant we need to call a route, and make sure you are using the blade temp syntax. Inside the route we'll be creating cake dot edit name route. So in the web.php we need to call the get request, and it's going to be edit, and the relevant function is that will be useful is edit, and the name route is cake.edit. So as we have called here, so in the edit of the cake controller you will see a unique thing, which is it needs a ID. So when you click on edit, the ID need to be sent to the URL so that it can access it and fetch only the single row and able to edit it. So in that case, let me just display the ID when you click on it. So make sure to pass the ID along with the route. So in the index.php, so we can pass the ID in this way. So as I said, database usually has ID and timestamp. You can see the ID is already there. So let me just refresh this, and in the controller also, sorry, in the web.php also, we need to pass the ID. So to pass the ID, we'll be using ID in this way. Refresh it, click on edit, and now you can see this one is coming from the function from the controller. So dd. Now we need to edit this. So we don't need to edit it. Now first we need to return a view. So the view is because we need to edit. Where will we be editing? We'll be editing the file. Return view, and the view is going to be inside cake folder. We'll be creating a function file called edit. So this edit will be same as the create. So you can just copy paste the code, copy the whole, and just create a new file and edit.blade.php and just paste it. And now what we need to do is, let me just check. So if you click on edit, it should take you to the file called edit. Yeah, you can see. Now just edit the button. It's instead of save, it's going to be edit, and you can change it by making it danger so that it is something different. And now if I click on 1, all the data relevant to 1 should show up. It should fetch the data which is this column. So for that, let me just add one more. So banana cake, we have strawberry cake, just description 200 rupees, and the image. Click on save. So we have 2. So as I said, if I click on edit, the data of the second column should get fetched. So in that case, we can use the model and use the function, sorry, static function, and inside the static function we'll pass the ID and store it into a variable called one row, and we can pass this with the help of compact function. And now we can access this one row in the edit, and since we know, we'll change the value and we'll use the blade symbol and $1 row. The name of the column is name. Let me just check whether the name is there. Yes. The same way in the text area, it's description, and for the price, let me just remove the placeholder and make it price. This is the column name, and then let me just make this text, and then let the image as it is, but we'll show the image. So image, and since the same as we done for the index page, what we need to do is we need to call the storage. We have URL static function, and inside the static function we'll just call the image. Refresh it. You should have image as well, and it's very large. You can make the width as 100. Let's check the next one, view, and if I take banana, and you can see the banana is there. Now if I click on edit, what should happen? It will get into the update route, and again in the update we need to pass the ID, so that we need to know on which row it need to get updated. So in that case, let me just pass the ID also, and let me create a relevant route, and here it's going to be put, PUT, and the URL is update, and the relevant function that is going to handle is update, and the name is also route cake.update. So in the edit, again we need to specify a method explicitly for this one, which is foot. Now let's just check in the update function of controller, it would accept the update. So let's just see whether we are able to dump the update. Refresh it, click on edit, so it's update. Now in the update function, instead of dumping, we'll just write the code that is responsible for updating. So in that case, one row for update will have the row that need to be updated and rest. So I'll say what is, just find the row and just update the row with the fill function that we get from the inputs, and these are the column names and these are the file names, HTML names from the edit HTML. So again, for the image there could be two cases. One, the user has updated the image, so in that case we need the new image. So if the user has not updated the image, in that case we'll get the image as it is from the database. So here in this case, if the request has image, which is the HTML attribute, if there is no if the request does not have image, so in that case the request, this is empty. So if it is empty, so in that case what should happen is we need to fetch the database image and store it inside path. So if the request has image, in that case we need to do as we done on the create. Just store the request, get the request and use the store function to save this in the cake folder, and now just update it. So once this is done, again we need to redirect them to the index page and saying that it is updated successfully. And if everything works fine, refresh this. Since this is chocolate, let me just change this to chocolate and click on edit. And yes, too few argument in the update. So I think in the update, in the web.php, we have not used the URL. Refresh this, click on edit, 404 not found, put function, the learn function is update. Yeah, I have not refreshed the file. Now let me just check and change this to choco, click on edit. Yes, chocolate has been updated. Let me just update the price also by making this 300 and click on edit, and you should see updated successfully. Cool. Now let's make the same. So there is one more problem, and in that case we need to create a update request for the validation for update, and this is for update. Just copy this and paste it. Nothing, we are just going to do the same copy paste work as we done for the request. This is for create. Just copy the same thing and do it for update and make sure this is true. And we just need the image is optional and rest as it is. You can change, we want this to be important, but we don't want the image to be compulsory. If it is compulsory, then we don't need this if else statement. Cool. the next thing is we need to call it in the we need to call this class in the cake controller, and in the update function use this as a reference. The request will have we should have the reference of the class which you have created right now, request class. Cool. Now it's time for the edit. So not edit, we'll get into index.blade.php, and then we will have, where is index.blade.php? Here we will have one more button, and this button will be responsible for delete. So to make this, what we can do is bootstrap model. My internet is down, let me just activate it. And now let me just open this and copy the button and the model. So this is the button, just copy this button and paste it, and make sure this open and close of button, not just the open tag, and this should be delete, and this can be danger, and since it's a model, all of them should be unique. You can see we are calling it with the ID. So now you will see this button triggers this model, but all individual rows should have a unique button. So in that case we'll pass the ID as a unique name. So if it is 1, my model 1 should trigger my model 1 pop-up, my model 2 should trigger my model 2 pop-up. So let's just check whether we are able to activate the model in the index page. Click on delete. Yes, we are able to do it. Now we don't need this model body for now. And are you sure? And here we have to make this input type submit, and surround this model with form, and once you click on submit, it should call a route, and make sure it's inside blade. It should call a route, and inside the route it should be cake dot delete, and of course we need to pass the ID to the route so that we know which row should get deleted. So how I'm knowing it, it's because the function will ask for the parameter. So as you see in the delete function, it will ask for the parameter ID. So to understand which row need to get deleted, so that's the reason we need to create the route web.php. So again it's going to be delete delete method, and here the function is so the URL is delete, edit the function, and this is the route, and let's just check whether we are properly passing the route. I think everything seems fine. So once you get in, this should delete. So find it first and then delete. So once you delete it, redirect them to the index saying that deleted successfully. Refresh it. There's a syntax error. In index.blade.php, and we have not closed the round bracket. Let me just the chocolate, click on delete. Are you sure? Yes. So this method should be post, and we need to pass cross-site reference forgery and method to be delete. And let's try again. Click on delete. Are you sure? Now when I click on submit, actually I don't know which one is what. We don't need this. Let's just make this delete, and let us try removing this model dismiss. Delete strawberry. Yeah, then it would work. The controller delete does not exit. Actually it's not delete, it's destroy function in the controller, sorry, in the web.php. The destroy function will be responsible for deleting. Let us just delete it, the strawberry, and strawberry will go. Yes, deleted successfully. Now let me add some more items so that we can add pagination. So create banana cake 150. Click on save. Then the grapes. Then let's add mango. Then we have pineapple. Likewise, let me create all. Cool. Now we have 6 cakes. So you need to type pagination Laravel Bootstrap. So you have to get into the documentation. We're going to modify the app service provider, so that the Bootstrap pagination features get added into your Laravel. So here we are going to use 8. So in the table of content, just get into the using the Bootstrap. You just need to add this in your provider file. You will see in your provider folder, you will see app service provider. Just add this code as it says, and in the index, sorry, in the controller, cake controller, the index file is responsible for displaying it. You can just type paginate, and I just need 3 values. So now if you refresh the page, instead of 5, instead of 6, it's going to be 3. And now in the index, just after the for each, we need to call the variable which is responsible for displaying all the values, and then use the links function. It's not a static class, but it's a function. And don't forget to surround inside the blade template, or else you'll get an error. So now this is first page and this is second page. Cool, that works. Now what we need to do, by this we have completed the CRUD operation. Now let's work on the login and logout. So let me log in. So as you know, for the admin should have 1 in the let me just open the users table. to be admin, you want the is admin to be 1. So let's just create account, register. So for the normal user, user@gmail.com, and this is just a name, and just click on register. So now you are logged in. So if you get into the table, you will see the is admin is 0. So I want to create a admin. So in the form there is no possible of adding is admin value. So in that case, if you want to modify, we'll be using the feature called databaseSeeder. Get into the database and you will find seeders, and here we have databaseSeeder. And now we need to create the model reference first. App, we have models, and inside the models we have our model, which is cake. And now we'll be using users, user. So here inside the model, just to check again, models, it's just capital U. And now we need to create a reference. Let me just copy paste it one more time. We are creating the reference, and we are manually giving the name, email and encrypted password, and is admin value as 1. And once this is done, you need to run php artisan db:/seed. Now if it does this, and make your server run, and in the browse you will see a new value, which is admin, and now this admin is 1. So now we need to restrict. So before restricting, let me just create the home page as well. So, or let's just make this in the end. So I want to restrict these cake dot create. I want to restrict this. Only the admin can have access to it. Let me just log in as a user, user @gmail.com, and as a regular user, and I can also access this. We don't want to make this. So in that case, what we need to do is we need to create a middleware. So let's create a middleware and name it as cake admin. So once it is created, you will see in the HTTP you will find middleware, and we have cake admin. So here I am going to specify, if the user is admin, then only display the request. If the user is admin, then only proceed them, or else redirect them to the, if the check for the authentication, if the authenticated user, so the logged in user has a column 1, then return to the next process. I'll say what the next process is, or else return them to the login page. So return route login. So in the web.php, let me just delete the rest of the section which we don't need as of now. So you'll see the login, the route login should be somewhere. So just understand that if it is login, it's going to display the login page. So cool. So the next step is we need to register our middleware, which is cake admin, to the kernel. So you need to find a file called kernel in HTTP, and in the route middleware, just make a copy of this. So this is our route admin. This is the name that we are giving, middleware, MW for middleware, and this is the name of the class. And since we have registered this, now you need to create a block. So the block will only have a set of URL that only the admin can access. So in the web.php, we want these group to only get access to this URL need only be accessed by admin. No rest of them should get access. So in that case, the route name here is middleware. So we are going to create a route group route. So the name of the middleware is this one, and if this is the middleware, and just surround these value and group them. We are grouping them. Let's just check now. As I am a user, I should get redirected to the login page. If I type the URL and if I go for something like cake.create, I am getting redirected to home. Let me just check why I'm getting redirecting to home. So let me just check after logged in as admin, do I able to UI monk do I able to access the dashboard or not? No, as admin also I'm not able to access it. I think we have not imported the route over here. I think we don't need to import here, but let's just check adding info here on the web.php. So that's not required. We don't have to import the route here. So now it's working. So if I as I log out and try to access cake.create, I'm redirecting to the login page. So let me log in as a regular user and try to log in, and if I go for cake.create and let me just log out and log in as a admin, which is uimonk@gmail.com, and I should able to access the cake. Now let me check why as a user I'm getting redirected to the home page, cake and cake.index. Anyways, it's not allowing me to access, but that's a good way. But we don't know why we are not able to access. Yeah, it's because we only have access to the home. That's the reason. And now in the home page, or if there is access for the URL, we don't need this IP address. What we need is we want to get into the home controller, and in the home controller, index page is responsible for displaying it, and we need to import the model. So here the model app slash models slash and cake. Let me just check properly. Models capital M, and we have cake, and we can use this class and use get and store it into a variable all cakes and pass this with the help of compact function. Now we can access this cakes in the home.blade.php here. So what we need to do is let me just copy paste the code, and let me explain line by line what I did. First and foremost thing, let me just remove all and let's just have this inside only container and show you the home. Not found, not in the home. In the this error is coming from the home controller, capital A, and since we are passing all cakes, we need to make sure it's just cake. And now you see this is UI1 cake shop, and we have divided it into two columns, and in the first column it's just a static text, and in the second column it's the carousel. So as I have passed all the values and I have received it and I'm accessing it one by one, refresh. Let me just check whether what we are getting in place of the columns. No, it's blank, I guess. It's there. Image is there. We are getting the images, but it's not getting displayed. Yes, I was not getting because of this code, because item active class that need to be added on the first carousel, which is this one, carousel item. That's the reason. Now we have images. Cool, this is just a carousel. And then I have used the Bootstrap card to display all the values along with name and price. So it's very straightforward. HTML, we have used for each loop to access one by one. So let me try adding it. As a regular user you won't be able to access it. Let me check a user. And before that, if you are an admin, you should have a bar saying that if you are an admin, you should have a bar that will have two links, to create and to view. So let me just log in as a admin, first user. You should not see the admin bar. Along with that, if I try to access, you should get redirected to the home page. The next one, if I am an admin, not registered but login as UI monk, if I click on login, you should see the bar, but again you are a user. I'm sorry for that, I got a little confused. I should log in as UI monk to be the admin. Now if I click on view all, I should be able to access all the cakes. And if I create click on create, and if I type ice cream and 150, just add any images that you need for the ice cream. Click on save, and our image is added. But in this, how to access from the sidebar? So in the web.php, so if there is a home page or slash in the sidebar, you can get it from the sidebar.blade.php, and the route name is home, which I have given just the home. And if I try to click on home, you should get redirected to the home page. Now the ice cream is added. Now if I try to log out, you can see all the data, but you can't edit it. Let me get into as a regular user, and again you don't have the admin bar, so you can't get into the dashboard. Cool, I believe the scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening.